Also, institutions also very the Kadi. So most of the people use greeting card and many other things. So this is what the Gandhian concepts are. It's like a very rare and the real ideologies are not existing. So in this difficult situation, there are some hopes. Some of the organizations, some of the people, they are struggling to take the Gandhian concept forward. There is one, the Velukote Janapada Seva Trust. Janapada Seva Trust in 1960. Again, Girija Kaulagi. So it's just a humble beginning, small steps. Now it's evolved as a big institution and it's an inspiration to many people, like many organizations. So we are very proud to introduce our Janapada Seva Trust friends. I welcome Sumanas, the new generation person taking the Janapada Seva Trust collective to forward. I request Sumanas to take the dais. And also Santosh Kaulagi, he is the father of Sumanas and also son of the Surendra Kaulagi. So if you see the journey of the Janapada Seva Trust, Janapada collective, especially in the 90s, the Masanapa Pukwaka inspired many youngsters. I think in my generation, it's all just Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau, the Schumacher, and the Masanapa Pukwaka. So that is what Santosh translated the Masanapa book, One Star Revolution into Onduvallina Kranti. This is the 27th edition. It's still popular, and also each edition now they are making 3,000 copies. Imagine how popular it is that way. And also, Janapada Seva Trust is the one coined the Kumarappa's concept. I think I don't know how many of you know. Actually, the Gandhi's economy, Gandhi's concept of rural development shaped by Dr. J.C. Kumarappa. So this is what they worked lot and written books on Kumarappa and pushing the ideologies. So really we are very happy to they are there with us. So I think I request Sumanas start with the new generation phase. Sumanas did his developmental studies from the Oxford and also later he did his PhD from the University of University. So Santosh will start the narrative journey, then later Sumanas.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm Santosh Kaulagi. Run a small organization, not a big organization, a small organization in Melukote, a small village in India district, which is about 55 kilometers from my started in 1960. Janapada Seva Trust is a very old style organization, not a project driven organization, ideology driven organization. Mainly used by Mahatma Gandhi and J.C. My father, my parents started this organization. Father was secretary to Jayaprakash Narayan. Then I joined them in 1980s. I wanted to get away from Mahatma Gandhi. I read Fukuoka's book called First of Evolution. I decided to, I was very much influenced by that book and translated that book into Kannada. And when I was reading that book, the last page, as Fukuoka says, farming that he is doing is a Gandhian way of farming. I find that it's very difficult to get rid of Gandhi if you are very serious about something. I started with working Janapada Seva. Luckily, my son Sumanas also got influenced. He went to wildlife conservation and all that development. He also finally felt that Gandhi is the answer for the. He has also come back from Oxford. He is also working. The third generation, which is working for an organization, with a lot of commitment. I'm happy that it's getting more clarity and more sound basement. And new generation is working. I think it's better want to speak more than me. I have someone else to take.
Uh, I have slides. I just my what I'm talking. It has actually has two parts. So one is I'll be talking about our normative direction, which is driving us, and the second part is our practice. So how we are trying to the direction. And so I'm talking about Janapada Collective, and so our normative. I think please change the slide. Our normative direction is basically driven by the idea of Swaraj. And so Swaraj is, we feel that it's a way of life based on truth, non-violence, or truth and love. And truth is, we believe that as interconnectedness of feel that there is no independent existence for anything in this world. So everything is interconnected. And when you believe in this truth, the only option that you have to operate in this world is through love, through compassion, because we're all part of the same larger whole. And then the whole compassionate living. So we see it in three dimensions. So one is in terms of moral landscape, in terms of moral sphere. So that's where we believe in good for all, and it comes from this understanding of truth. And just understand that, for example, something which is very essential for our existence. Just trace back how that has become possible. So a lot of people behind the scene have worked for that, even non-human beings. For example, if you don't have a honeybee, you won't. There is no pollination. If there is no pollination, you won't get a fruit on your table. So it clearly shows that even our individual existence is the direct result of the contribution made by all other beings in this world. So that understanding is very essential. So that's why in the moral sphere, good for all is what a part of the uh, how love is expressed. And in political sphere, when we say politics, it is not just only power relationships, but broadly speaking, it's human relationships. And human relationships feel that it should be based on consensus. And consensus is important because only way where everybody's voice can be part of the decisions that impacts our lives. It could be in any social position, but there'll be an equal voice for everybody. That's why consensus, especially in managing human relationships, for us is very important. And also satyagraha, and it's a term that you all know. It's all kind of encouraged by Gandhi. But satyagraha is not often we see it as something a mass movement against the state. But we see that satyagraha is basically, no, it is driven by an understanding of human nature, where humans have both sides, when it's self-interest as well as altruistic system. Uh, Even if you create a decentralized or consensus-based political system, even there is a lot of chances for domination because we have a self-interest side. So that's where the whole satyagraha comes in. Satyagraha is a way where oppressed challenges the oppressor through the act of love or self-suffering. And we feel that it should become part of our everyday life. So that also becomes an important aspect of love in terms of the political landscape. The last one is economic sphere, which is material relationships, how that we produce and how we consume. And this is where we feel self-sufficiency becomes very important. And self-sufficiency is not about producing all the things that you want in your own place, but it's actually about reducing the distance between production and consumption. And we feel that it's very important because Swaraj is both moral and material project. And every product that we consume, it inherently has an impact on society and environment. And that repercussion can only be seen if you are consuming something which is produced locally. So that's why self-sufficiency becomes very important. And the other aspect in terms of economy is human labor, human energy. We are seeing it not just in terms of labor, but in terms of energy, because we believe that there is a clear connection between energy, livelihoods, and society and environment. And today, as you know, everything is driven by fossil fuels, and fossil fuels has its own problems. And one is a huge negative impact on the environment, and very few people have control over these resources. And so in this context, even so-called green energy sources like solar and wind, it's also not green as much as we think it. For mining oil, it will be mining silica for your solar panels. So the impact is the same, and same over people have control over these resources. So that's why in this context, we feel that human labor should be able to consider as a energy source, because it's the only energy source that everybody has access to it. And it's the most eco-friendly and completely renewable. So that's why we feel human energy should be part of it's an expression of love in a economic sphere. And apart from this, especially how we act, we feel that exemplarity becomes very, very important. Because today we're all driven by outcomes. So somehow we believe that we have control over the outcomes and manage the outcomes. And that's why the whole idea of scale becomes very, very important. And it's so ingrained in our everyday discussion, right? So even when KP was introducing us, he was saying it's a very small organization, big organization. So it all comes if you believe in the idea of efficiency and the scarcity, and especially the belief in control over the outcome. But here we strongly believe that as human beings we don't have any control over the outcome. Even we have, it's very, very limited, and so that's why it means becomes very, very important. And that's why we don't believe in targets or scaling up anything. So it's basically we try to live in this direction because we feel it's truth. That's it. That's why we are doing this. So that's where I would like to end the bit of the normative idea part. And now I would like to move to the practice part, what we are trying to do, how we are trying to move in this direction. Next slide. So, our Janapada Collective is about 2 dozen people are part of this, and it is actually focused on life, and that is what important for us. Even though we have various activities like organic farming, we have bull ribbon oil processing unit, we have hand weaving, natural dyeing, beekeeping, all these kinds of things. We don't see it as end in itself. So we see that it's just a way to achieve or basically to live in the direction of towards the normative direction. And so that's where we start. And we don't actually believe in empowering anybody or uplifting anybody, because we understand that inherently that narrative itself involves that superiority complex is there, because you are here, that's why they are there. Often we don't realize. So that's why we are not into that narrative of empowering anybody or uplifting anybody. And the third is with respect to ownership, because since we believe in this truth of interconnectedness, since everybody is part of the same larger whole, so it becomes important for us to create an equal space, and that's where the whole ownership comes in. And here we have created a space where everybody is a worker and everybody is a owner. I think that is one of the important feature of our work. And since everybody is a worker and everybody is a owner, we have brought in a lot of financial transparency so that everybody knows the financial position of all the activities that we do. And also, other thing is, we because for us self-sufficiency is important, so we have set a cap on production, maximum limit on production and income. And I think that's one of the hardest step that we have taken. Because as you know, we're all in this vicious cycle of producing more and earning more. It's a never-ending process. And seeing enough today is something very, very crucial. And it's just so difficult. But in our case, we have managed to come to an agreement and say that for our Melkote context, living income is around 15,000 rupees per person per month, and we have assured that for everybody. And once you achieve that, you should not be thinking about making more production and more money. So that we are very, very vocal about that, and so that's what we've been doing. It's completely contrary to the modern production systems where minimum target becomes very, very important. And also other step is taking income in the form of kind, not in the form of cash, because everybody earns a living income. Now we have reached a point where at least 10% of our salaries are taken in the form of kind. The bills that we make. For example, it could be vegetables, could be coconut or khadi or oil, like this. So almost 50,000 rupees every month is now rotating within the system. It's not going out of this. So that is another important aspect. And also we have created a lot of social security funds out of profit, like health fund for health emergencies, retirement fund, and also another fund called God's Aid, because often people who are involved with us, they require kind of small amount of money for financial emergencies. So what we thought that, because today the whole world is built on this understanding that humans are self-interested. That's why you need CCTV cameras. That's why you need checks and balances everywhere. But since we believe that humans have two sides, so we want to experiment with this. The idea is that we have kept a profit in a box where everybody has access to it. And if somebody wants, they can directly go and take the money from that box. And in a month's time, they have to return it back, if possible, with some interest. So initially, when it started off, 4 years ago, there was a lot of hesitation that somebody will take it away, you can't keep it like that. But interestingly, after 1 year, that 3,000 rupees had gone up to 3,300 or something. So now we have kept 10,000 rupees like that, and it's working beautifully. So it's an example, by living, saying that there are different ways we could imagine life and the world. And and other one, and also the portion of the profit. So we have kept aside as a community development fund. So we use it for various activities like theatre, group reading sessions, potlucks, exposure visits. So we feel that all these things are important because as I told you earlier, so what we're trying to do is both moral and material project. So we have to work with the material condition of people as well as the moral landscape, and use all these various activities to remind ourselves that we should be thinking about the larger good. So that's what we do. And to bring new people, next slide, to bring new people into this kind of living. So we started a fellowship. It's a 2 years program, and basically it's based on recognizing limitation of modern education. And we strongly feel that modern education has a purpose, right? So when you see the history of modern education, it has a history of 200 years, and it was built, or it was the whole purpose was to manufacture workers, and that is working beautifully even after 200 years. So once we pass out of our colleges, we all look for jobs. So it means that you're already tuned to work under somebody. So it's kind of a modern day, kind of a soft slavery, you could say. So where you work for 5 days and then you do 2 days of off, and again you join back this day camp. So this is what broadly the problem with modern schooling and modern education. So that's why we wanted to sort of challenge that. And also, second one is there is a knowledge politics. So what is knowledge, and who recognizes, who validates that? It's a very important question that we need to ask. So for various reasons today, we believe that we gain knowledge only through going to the formal schooling system. And outside of it, there is no knowledge. So we fundamentally wanted to question that because we believe that every human act has embedded, knowledge is embedded in all human acts, right? For example, a simple act of cooking in our homes. So without knowledge, you really cannot make upma. But today we have reached a point where if you don't have a formal degree certificate in food science, you really cannot talk about food. So this is what we really wanted to question. So that's why this whole new fellowship program. So it's actually based on the idea of knowledge democracy. So recognizing different forms of knowledge embedded in different kinds of spaces. And second one is we have kept livelihoods at the center because we feel that everything else comes only after we fulfill our basic material needs. So that's why livelihood we have kept at the center of this fellowship for education program. And we see livelihood not just as a way of earning bread, but it's a way of knowing things, knowing the world, knowing the life. Today, for various reasons, there is so much of emphasis and importance on text. And of course, that's important. It's one of the ways to understand life and the world. But there are different means we can actually do that. So work is one of the important ways. So that's what we recognize. So that's why we have about 10 students as a part of this program, and they engage in these activities for about all this weaving to dyeing, all these various programs, for about 4 to 6 hours every day. And it's all grounded in reality. And it's running on profits, and they themselves are running this. And whatever the income they generate out of these activities, half of it actually they are reinvesting towards the ownership. So the idea is that whoever works for 4 hours and invests about 50,000 rupees, they get some ownership in the activities that we're doing. Almost 10 students that we have are volunteering here for this program. Almost many of them have actually completed that, 50,000 rupees. And I think it's a huge step. And the rest they are using it for their pocket money. And also language, we feel that's very important. That's why we have a actual kind of time where we're trying to strengthen their language skills both in Kannada and English. And also we also have another model called human history. So where we are trying to teach them all the way from evolution to where we're heading. So we feel that that understanding is just so essential. If you understand that, you realize that everything is interconnected. Even the whole idea of nation states becomes, doesn't make any sense to you. So that's why we feel that human history is very, very important. That really helps to move away from our constructions of gender, caste, religion, different kinds of barriers. And spinning, they do it every day, and we feel that that's important because today the problem is, especially the younger generation, is that we are physically here, but we are mentally somewhere else. So spinning in one such activity where you have to be completely focused on where you're going. If you're thinking something else, if your pace differs, then yarn starts breaking. So that's why it really helps you to be here in that moment. So, and apart from this, we have to have the nature theatre programs, exposure visits, and so importantly, Padayatra we do. So every year for a week in different parts of Karnataka. And we feel that Padayatra is very, very important because today the problem is speed of life. It is just so fast that it is not letting us see anything what's happening around. Basically, by walking, you slow down yourself and then everything starts becoming visible. A frog to a plant, everything becomes visible. Cars, everything becomes visible. So we do this Padayatra every year, and that has been a great learning experience. So last year we did in the Hyderabad, Karnataka region, where one of the biggest learning was especially communal harmony, especially between because the students who are coming from southern Karnataka for various reasons believe that there is an animosity between Muslims and Hindus. We cannot sustain together. But when you go there in that landscape, you realize that each community celebrates other festivals, and that gave completely a new imagination for students. And similarly, last year we worked in Chamarajanagar district, in Bandipur, Nagapuri, and that way. So there we actually discussed quite a lot about the idea of development, right? Because we always, when we talk about Chamarajanagar district, start off with saying that it's a backward district. So then discussion was, always when we discuss this progress or backwardness, always there is a reference point to which we compare. So if our parameter is having more number of cars, definitely Bangalore looks progress and not Chamarajanagar. But your parameter is having forest, then Chamarajanagar looks much more progress. So these kind of understanding that really kind of a great learning, and also the whole issues of colonial conservation idea and issues of Adivasi and all those kind of things. So internships, volunteering, all these things are kind of part of the program, and these are some of the pictures. And so this is what kind of broadly we are doing, and we are not doing this for to create any impact or uplift anybody or empower anybody. Just doing this because it's right. That's it.
Thank you, Sumanas. It's not a simple journey, Sumanas and Santosh. But really, whenever you get a time, please visit Melukote, around 60 kilometers from Mysore. This kind of place of inspiration. It has also given. It's like a it's like a road path for the new journey. Journey needed everywhere. Is needed at an agriculture level, at an education level, at marketing level, everywhere. Back to the root, down to earth, and how we are based on the campaign about thanks. Uh,
I think this is something that civil society in India has to imbibe, including me, of course, which is that they are saying that they will be stationed in a village. More and more we find NGOs which are highly urbanized and they are headquartered in cities and so on. And then they want to do something with community. Here is a family, the third generation stationed right there. The village all around them is changing, but they are right there working. I want to thank them again on behalf of Asha. I want to introduce Kiran Vissa, the next session's facilitator. Our next session is on labor in agriculture. It's a highly complex subject, and in Asha, we'd like to approach it from both sides. And all these sessions are about creating win-win solutions. Kiran is an alumnus of IIT Madras, and he could have easily settled down in the US as a satellite communications engineer, but he chose not to do so and had come back to India to work with farmers and farming communities. Active member, is a co-convener of Asha Kisan Swaraj, and he's also an active member in many people movements, including National Alliance for People. Kiran, over to you.
Thank you, Kavita. Very happy to be here at the Kisan Sammelan. before getting into the session itself, just once more, I want to remind everybody who needs translation to yes. So just want to remind everybody who I think translations are happening on Zoom. So whoever requires translation, of course, I'm saying this in English, but one more reminder to please join the Zoom link because we found that at the log into Zoom for translation. Just a reminder, please log into the Zoom translation. So to begin our session, this is about labor in agriculture. And like Sumana says, just expressed very eloquently, human labor energy is the most eco-friendly form of energy. At least for the human use, right? When we think about energy, we are talking about using energy for human use, for doing something that human. But we've moved much beyond using just human labor, but all kinds of energy. But human labor still remains to be the most eco-friendly form of energy. So, how is human labor being used in agriculture, and what are the issues that are surrounding it in current context? That is what we'll discuss session. We have four resource persons. I would like to invite them all onto the stage. Mr. Shamshuddin Baligar, please come onto the stage. He's from VRDS in Haveri district in Karnataka. Ms. Reshmi Deepak from Kerala, she's an agriculture officer from Palakkad district in Kerala. She would like to share about some of their experiences. Ravindra from Asan and RRA network. He's well known to I think many of the people in the community. They've done a lot of pioneering work in watershed and also in revitalizing rainfed agriculture. And I would like to invite Ramesh. Ramesh is from Action Fraternal, the AF Ecology Center in Anantapur district. Anantapur is one of the driest districts, I mean, it's the driest district of Andhra Pradesh, but one of the really dry districts in the country. And handling agriculture and that too in an ecological friendly way is something that AF Ecology Center will work. And all of them will speak about certain solutions that are being attempted to address the problem of labor in agriculture. Before inviting each of them to speak, I just wanted to lay out a little bit of the ground on what we want to discuss about. See, on the one hand, farmers, land-owning farmers, and I think that in the organic farming community, mainly we are dealing a lot with land-owning farmers. Whether it's organic farmers or conventional farmers, one of the common refrain that we hear these days, especially, is that there's a big shortage of labor in agriculture, and either labor is not available, or they don't come on time, or they don't work enough, or the quality of work is not sufficient. These are all the things that we hear from farmers, and also if we just look at it objectively in terms of cost of cultivation, also the labor component of the cost of cultivation is really some other component. So that is one side of the story. But on the other hand, agriculture workers themselves actually find that they don't have enough work in the village. They don't have enough work which is remunerative, which can keep their families in the village throughout the year. So a lot of the migration that we see happening started with agriculture workers. Now, of course, a lot of small marginal farmers, families are also moving out, but agricultural labor finding it difficult to find work in the village. So these are the contradictory realities which are present simultaneously. So we need to grapple with that. Part of the reason, of course, is the seasonal nature of agriculture, and especially the modern agriculture, where it's highly dependent on monocropping. Only a few days in a season, actually, there's intense work that is required. In the rest of the season, not much work is required. But then, just for those few days of work, the laborers' families may not want to live in the village, so they would actually find more lucrative opportunities outside. So they are migrating to the city. But in those times, actually, farmers are finding that there's shortage of labor. So this is one part of the reality, but also we need to grapple with some of the other more complex things. I mean, one thing is that over the years and over the century, work on agricultural farms, and especially agricultural labor, which is hired to work on farm, never got the dignity. If human energy is actually really required to do environmentally friendly farming, have they really got that kind of a dignity and respect in the social, the social milieu of the villages? I think mostly the answer is no. And then also, who is agricultural labor? Who are small marginal farmers? Who are the large landholder farmers? Is also linked to the social structure in the villages. It's linked to caste. It's linked to the power structure. So for generations together, agricultural workers did not have any bargaining capacity with respect to the landowning farmers when they would go to work and when they would not go to work, or how much wages they would demand. So they were basically at the beck and call of the landowners. So if we think about situation 20, 30 years ago to now, that is something which has changed. That labor has got actually more bargaining capacity. They're able to ask for more wages, and they are also able to refuse. I mean, one of the important things of power is the power to refuse. So they are actually able to say that, today I can't come, or this week I cannot come, which was not the case 25, 30 years ago. So, do we see this as a positive development or a negative development? It depends on whether you are looking at it from a landowner's point of view or the laborer's point of view. So for the laborers, this is a positive development because this means that from a stage where they didn't have any alternative, so therefore they had to work whenever they get work in the village. Now they have alternatives, therefore they have the bargaining capacity. Whereas for farmers, on the one hand, the cost of all the inputs is increasing in labor, but the prices are not increasing. So agriculture is not that remunerative. So they feel the pinch that if they don't get the laborers at an affordable rate, then they can't really engage them. So therefore, they are looking towards mechanization. But as an organic and sustainable farming community, we know that whenever whatever methods are used to displace labor, whether it is through mechanization, through heavy machines, like the way that US and Europe have gone, where completely the agriculture is industrial agriculture, or the weedicides that we were talking about is a way of displacing labor. All these things are environmentally unfriendly. All the labor displacing labor. Therefore, what is the solution? So I think these are the dilemmas that are before us. I just wanted to lay out the ground so that we can hear what are some of the solutions. Because we do hear complaints about, let us say, that NREGS is taken away because therefore we are not getting labor. But from Asha, we also see that when we look at small marginal farmers and agriculture workers, they are as much farmers as landowning farmers or big landowning farmers. So therefore, if there is something which has actually increased their livelihoods and prevented their migration from the villages, that should be looked at as a positive. So these are all the different dimensions of the questions that we examine. With that, I would like to invite each of the speakers to share what are their thoughts and also what are some of the solutions that they have come up with as part of their work. First, I would like to invite Mr. Shamsuddin Kaligar. They've done years of work with agriculture worker communities, part of VRDS organization from Haveri district in Karnataka.
So
as you said, labor bank is its come for solution agriculture. Last 22 years is an experiment in our. Earlier, I worked with wage workers unionization. Before Govt of India passed the Parliament Manrega Act in 2005, people are always going to migration. So basically, migrant workers are going to Goa and Kerala. So searching the jobs in the. When I work in the grassroots, the most of the migrant workers, they have facing a lot of challenges because of the parents are going to migration and children are school dropouts. Parents are going to migration and old age people are in the home. They nobody to take care. These are the social effects are going to in the villages. So when Manrega is Act passed in 2005 in Parliament in our district 2007 and 8, so going to implement in the panchayats. So we lot of 5 to 6 years we have faced challenges in the organizing of the wage workers. That we have organizing the wage level wage workers, the wage workers to go to work in the Manrega. There is a lot of challenges on bureaucrats and contractors, panchayat elected members. They don't get the job. We have mobilizing regularly people creating awareness, sensitize the government officers, and properly will go to implement the Manrega. Last 10-15 years, we have a organizing more than 10,000 wage workers in the many districts. It's a Mahatma Gandhi Ji Wage Workers Union. It is registered under the Trade Union Act. So, it's the biggest challenge is the of economics, social changes, and environmental changes in Manrega. So Manrega is giving 100 days employment, assured employment in the commons or agricultural land. So they get people 100 days Manrega in the panchayat to develop their lot of water structures, water bodies, watersheds, agroforestry, horticulture, and there is very good help in the Manrega in the grassroots. So then 100 days will not sufficient for the wage workers. 100 days is for the family, not the person. That is what the family will go to two to three people for the wage workers. In the Manrega, they get only 30 to 40 days per person. That is what they are again they going to migration for cities and coastal area Goa. So then we find the solution how people will stay in the villages, how they can work with their livelihood. So then we simultaneously we work with the agriculture farmers also. In our area, the big farmers are there. About 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres farmers are there. They are facing the wage workers. Because wage workers, they are not ready to go to farming activities. Because farmers are giving less wage. Only 200 rupees they give. That 200 rupees not their survival of the family. And farmers are always complaining to the wage workers. Wage workers are complaining to the farmers. So that is the very interaction discussion between the wage workers and farmers, when our organization will decide to create why this connection with farmers and wage workers to connect the farmers. So then we'll take it 3-4 years. Regularly we sit with the wage workers, regularly we sit with the farmers. So we are think on it to why not the wage workers after the Manrega, they're going to migration. Instead of migration, you can work here only in the agriculture sector. Without agriculture cannot survival anybody. So that is what we convince the wage workers to go work in the farmer field. So we convince to the farmers to at least increase their wage, at least minimum wage. They get in Manrega 370 rupees, they gain wage. In that, they are going to 200 rupees, 250 rupees. The poor family cannot survive on 200 rupees, 250 rupees. In that situation, so we established this labor bank concept in pilot 10 villages to very aggressively work with farmers and wage workers to connect this wage farming activity very seasonally, harvesting season, sowing season. So we connect the farmers. So in that model, we create very systematically one pamphlet and one call center type, a small office is opened and one person sitting in the office and he round away the villages to searching the farmers to connect for the wage workers. So that kind of farmers will call our call center. So they, whenever required of the wage workers, so they contact our labor bank. Then the labor bank will connect for the farmers and negotiable rates. So farmer and wage workers, they can decide whatever wage work, whatever contract or wage work system. So then only will connect agriculture field. So now we are going to 10,000 wage workers to connect for the farming activities. We are ready to service for the agriculture sector in different kind of activities in North Karnataka. So this kind of model will helping for the wage workers and as well as win-win. Both can take this profit because timely, if not go to wage workers, the farmer will facing lot of cotton is there, wage is there, groundnut is there. So in that situation, we timely service give to the farming activity. This kind of model will slowly it is change in the revenue model because of our organization cannot regularly support for the union and our union will be run independently. Just we are going to facilitate. So who are the wage workers in the union? They charges 250 rupees for registration in the membership fees. So around 16,50,000 rupees they collected from the wage workers. They deposit in that money in the bank. Whenever required the wage workers to service in the agriculture, they collect 2.5% of the wages. 2.5% of the wages collect from wage workers or farmers. They can decide. So who are giving for the service charge to labor bank. So that kind of resources we mobilized and we sustainable model we created in the Haveri districts. So this will be replicable in the other area. That model because of we have last 10 years we have big challenges with work with community and farmers. Then we'll succeed. Now we are increased 20,000 wage workers to connect farmers. That can be systematic model will be developed. Slowly we can self-sustainable of the union and also union members can run this union and just we are facilitating of the organization. Slowly we can going to think on it model to be innovations. So we focused on all the laborers can get social securities. That also very important So many government entitlements is there. Ayushman Arogya card is there. Labor Department labor card is there, and other Pradhan Mantri like insurance schemes are there. That will be connecting for the wage workers. That will be very helpful for the wage workers. And also, we have think on it to school children will be dropped to the or any company buses are dropped to the employees. Like this, we are thinking on the bus facility for the wage workers. If you give bus facility for the service to the agriculture farm, they drop all the wage workers timely in the agriculture field. That we are thinking on that. And secondly, we are thinking on it about the app. So app is one of the model can replicable to other area. Where whenever required the wage farmers for the wage worker services, they can approach to through app. So that kind of we are going to planning in the future. So this is the model we have going to work with. These are the models are organizing in the Haveri district. Along with this, we are focusing on the wage workers in the agriculture land, especially in the Mandrega. So many watersheds will be created. So wage workers going to work in the agriculture land also. This suppose in watershed, one trench come funding. So that trench come funding is all the water conservation, soil conservation, and agroforestry. Like this, we have farm ponds. We have encouraged for the government also to work like Mandrega or like this. So that kind of services we are doing. These are the model going to implement in the Haveri district. So if anybody want to interested, come and see and visit. So if any suggestions, if you incorporate from the ASHA, so that will also be future replicable. Other districts, other states can also we can work together because of this kind of work in the Kerala. So Vadakancheri, KVK, the model is that model is different. Called that is also a labor bank. This model is to especially for North Karnataka and Kalyan Karnataka. Majority wage workers are migration workers are there, especially landless women. They migrating. Earlier, our wage workers going to coffee estates. So many violence is going. So abuse are going. That is what we stop this migration in the villages. Now almost more than we have succeeded more than 60-70% wage workers are stay in the villages to convert as a agriculture workers to convert as a agriculturist. That is our aim. So because wage workers can also be take lease land 1 acre, 2 acres, they can also start this agriculture work. This kind of we have to plan in the future to change in the agriculture workers solution and encourage these agriculture workers to work in the agriculture field. And agriculture farmers can also solution we find. So because timely if you go and give the services, farmers also very happy about this labor bank concept. So I thankful to Asha for giving me this opportunity to present my about the labor bank. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shamsuddin ji, for very clearly explaining how they were able to create a win-win situation where the workers are also getting some regular work through this labor bank, and the farmers are also able to find workers when they require it, and also they are getting work, which is satisfactory for them. And this has actually really impacted the migration situation also in the area, like Shamsuddin ji shared. Thank you so much for this work, and I think that it will be good if many of us also maybe visit their work and learn from that. Now I would invite Ms. Reshmi from Kerala. She will share about an experiment that they've been doing in Kerala for again addressing the labor availability. Just one minute. See, I think after all the speakers speak, if there is time, we'll have some time for interaction with question and answers. But right now, let us hear all the papers.
Namaskaram to all. I am from Kerala. So I present about a model in our mandal, that is Palakkad district, Alattur mandal. There are 7 panchayat. The Narasimha is actually a women group SHG that is formed for the labor support in our area, especially in paddy. Like next. Next. Actually, back. Actually, Kerala is not like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra. We are a consumer state in which 10% of our product is only preparing in our state. All the 90% comes from the other states. So we have more the responsibility of keeping our agriculture. And the meantime, we have so much of problems. Mainly, the costs are high, very high, because all the items has to be traveled from all the other states. The cost is so high, especially the labor cost. So, other than that, the cultivation cost, then now the climate issues, then challenges, and much of pressure is there in the agriculture, in our food system, so that we constant and continuous systematic effort is needed in order to survive agriculture in our state. Next. So, regarding the labor force and the agriculture worker situation in Kerala, there is a sharp decline in local agriculture force. So they are not migrating to the other, but migrating to different areas, not in agriculture sector. And the labor cost is high, the skill is very low, and we have to depend upon other guest workers, mainly from Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Bengal area. So the guest workers are coming in Kerala for mainly the agricultural activity. So the COVID-19 situation has aggravated the situation in our area, because before that the labor force are mainly per day basis, that is daily wage basis, and the migrant laborers, when they came, the pattern was changed to some type of contract farming. So contract labor pattern was there. So in that time, that is around 4,200 or 4,500 was charging for transplanting in 1 acre of paddy. So there is a shift in the type of activity after COVID, and that has made a more responsibility for our agriculture workers to stick on the field. So in our area, we had a system that is our MLA, that member of Legislative Assembly, KD President. He formulated a project that is NIRA, that has the potential to integrate all the departments and integrate the farming community, make our own solution decentralized in a decentralized way, so that the infrastructure facility, the technology, agriculture implements, mechanization, and all. And major thing was the focus was given to the labor problem, and one structure was formulated by the help of our rural women, that is Narasimha. In our area, that is a paddy area, it is comprised of 7 panchayat, and the entire area is around 13,000 acres of paddy land. So the NIRA model, they help the farmers by formulating society with the agriculture farmers, and similarly with the agriculture workers. Next. Next. So the Narasimha Reddy, the society has been organizing the services to farmers. The major service formulated was the formation of Narasimha. Next. This is our Narasena members. They are a group of around 10 to 15 women workers. They are organized in a ward basis, that is in a Padashegara basis, so that they can be trained so that their skill has improved tremendously, so that they can work in according to the situation in the field. So the Narasena started during the time of COVID. At that time, I earlier said all the agriculture labor was mainly the migrant laborers. So at that time of COVID, they came back to their own places. So we had very little laborers kept in our area. So at that time, very difficult situation was arrived that is a planting season. That is April is the planting season. So we had to plant and transplanting activities of paddy has to be done, because ours is a mainly paddy, but most of the farmers are paddy farmers. So we have to support them. So we had a discussion with the Padashegara Samiti, the Harda Mitra Society, collectively coordinated meeting the local women workers, and we had trained them so that the migrant laborers, they usually work in a contract model in which technically they are planting in a very systematic way. That is, number of fields are low, the planting depth is low, the spacing is ideal, so that their planting method was impressed by our farmers and they are getting more yields. So this type of activity has to be done by our native women labor. So we impart training to them and we impart the skill. If they gave confidence, we gave confidence to them so that they started forming groups. Initially, we formed 15 groups in our panchayat. So all the activities. So in one panchayat, around 1,200 acres of paddy. So all the planting activities have to be done in 30 to 45 days. So that's the time. So the farmer has to be planting all the activities in time. Otherwise, they will not get any. Technically, skill was imparted to those women laborers, and we provide assistance, the uniform, so and a flag off and all, so that the entire area that our farmers were also impressed by. So we prepared a calendar in which all the season or the entire activities was scheduled so that the Narasena members can be traveled from one area to another Padashekaram, completing all the work. So that in that season, that was a great success. The farmers got relieved by this type of activity, and the Narasena members has also got the confidence in doing type of skillful work in contract basis. So initially their wages was like that of a daily wage basis. They are getting 350 rupees. During 2019, they are getting 350 rupees per day. By entering into this type of contractual work, their wages rate was increased. So at that time, 7 women laborers are planting in 1 acre. So they increased their wages rate per day was increased to 500 to 600. So that sort of an increased income was generated for the Narasena members, but the farmers also benefited. It is in such a way that the farmers' yield was increased. Earlier, they used in a conventional way, that is a traditional method of transplanting, but we are in a skillful manner, we are transplanting in such a manner that the farmers are getting that imparted the confidence in both the farmers and in the Narasena members, and now they are equipped with the skill. They can transplant 3 women laborers in a 1 day, in 1 acre. So that is, they are getting around 1,000 to 2,200 rupees. That is the increased wages 3 times during the time of COVID. So the economic part is the economic impact of Narasena. Just That is the earlier a woman works 500 per day as wages. Now they shall get around 1,200 to 1,400. That is 140 to 180% high. In our area, around 2,800 acres has to be transplanted with the type of work. So, mainly the migrant laborers, the income is going to them. So we calculate that 1 crore is paid to migrant workers. So that money is not locally retaining this money with our laborers. That is the sustenance of their livelihood. So that is that created a sustainable local labor ecosystem. Next. So now we are comparing with sustaining, we are continuing the activities. Now we have around 234 Narasimha groups are there in our area, comprising of 2,200 women workers are there. And now, as per the minimum wage rate of Kerala, it is 7 per day. That is light activities, light work for weeding and all. And our members are getting 1,430 now. The rate is 101% higher. The farmers are also benefited because the farmers earlier, the migrant workers has a tendency to increase the rate every season. But now we have our own system, so they are starting reducing the rate. That is one of the challenge we are facing now because they are started 3,500, 400, that is the rate now. But this type of women laborers, they are with the local area. They have other work than the transplanting work, especially weeding, then pest surveillance activities, then pipe and roll activities, then paddy post harvest handling and all. So the local farmers and the laborers have a bond, so that it is they made the confidence with them, so that they are getting more. So in a year round, we are now it is a calendar is there during the first crop season and the second crop season. They are getting around 90 days in planting work. Then other than that, they are getting the weeding and that sort of different activities in the agriculture sector. So the farmers got benefited with this type of group. The laborers are also get benefited. So that is the story. That is the story. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. As we have seen, I think in the example, collectivization and forming a group and then taking on work as a group rather than individual workers seems to have benefited, and it may also have made it convenient for the farmers also to engage a group to perform a certain piece of work rather than paying wages. I think that's the scene. So now I invite Ravindra to come and share about some of their experiences and his perspective on this whole issue.
So, I'd like to start with a question. So, when water is a crisis in agriculture, government is invested on drips and sprinklers and all that, right? So, when the seed is a crisis, then there is a seed system, seed investment scheme. When labor is a crisis, there is not a single investment from the government on labor. So labor is also a factor of production, like water, like seed, like all that. Then it's not seen as an agriculture sectoral problem. And we often confuse, whenever we talk about labor, we immediately jump to Narega. Narega is a safety net. I can go in a village, if I'm staying in a village, I can go and work under Narega. I need not be an agriculture labor. That issue is completely separate. It's a safety net issue. But unfortunately, in all our discussions, agriculture labor issues are equated by and large with this conflicting Narega farmers have a view and then labor have a view. And then it's always, because of Narega, agriculture labor has a problem. I think in our minds, we need to separate this. So if the production relations are inequitous, caste-based, and then feudally entrenched, and then farmers are not able to give wages, sufficient wages, wage rates to the labor, then why should labor stay in the village? So for any labor to work in agriculture, stay in the village and work there, need minimum living wage, and they also have aspirations. They have their children educating and all that. So you need to have the agriculture as a sector because this is a sectoral component agriculture. So the sector should provide a minimum decent living wage. Number two, there must be dignity in it. It should not be like earlier ways of interlocking of credit and labor and cost and labor. They should be free of that. Agriculture, labor market should be free. And then labor must have dignity. And labor must be productive also. For the farmer to pay sufficient wages to the labor. And then the labor work turnover should be sufficient for the farmer to actually produce at a cost where the farmer also benefits. So the prices, farm produce prices are depressed, and that has a cascading impact on the agricultural labor wages, and that is a chicken and egg problem that is not going to be solved in this sense because agriculture produce prices are always suppressed. So then, if you have to see, what I'm appealing is you see the labor issue as a part of agriculture sectoral issue, then several things will unfold. For example, we have the weedicide problem. Weedicides are bad. Nobody says weedicides are good. Even the government, even the scientists will not say it's good. But everybody is saying it's innovative. Right? And then earlier, all the mechanization happened, tractors and other, enormous amount of subsidies given for the mechanization. And now it is given. Every budget has substantial allocation to mechanization. But mechanization is for what purpose? It's not going to, a single paisa is not going to labor. It's all going to the farmer. Right? Farmers are given implements. When farmers are given given the machines that displace labor, then how are you going to solve the problem of labor staying in the village? On one side, you are actually pumping money in terms of combine harvesters, in terms of all these diesel subsidies. If you combine all this, there's a huge amount of subsidy that government is pumping into the mechanization. The primary aim of mechanization is to displace the labor. So if labor are not finding adequate work around the year, why should they stay in the village? So this is a situation, what Kapil said, very complex situation where things are down. Then what is the way out? Right. So first and foremost thing is we should recognize that having labor in the villages is not just the humanitarian thing. It's not a safety net issue. It's also a production issue. Number one. Therefore, there must be allocations of budgets for solving that issue. Like we have allocations for irrigation, we have allocations for mechanization and all that. There must be an allocation for the labor issue. Then the question is, how do you spend this money? Do you spend on tractors or do you have any other options? Have we evaluated options? So if you look at the entire country, 40% of the country cannot use tractors. They cannot use tractors. All the hilly terrains, the machines are not useful. Then mechanization money is an inherently contradictory for large areas of the country. Right? So then where do you start? How you spend this public money more intelligently so that the problem is solved? Now I'll share an example. So the same weedicide case, if you take per acre weedicide cost, including application, comes to about 2,500 rupees. If there are 100 acres, that is about 2.5 lakhs. If that income, that expenditure is assured, it can easily sustain some families with having a pair of bullocks to actually address to that cater to that particular need. So if a bullock pair is there, if one person is one family is actually maintaining a bullock pair, and then they are attending to the agriculture work, then if you can provide 150 days in a year at a wage rate of say 1,500 to 2,000 rupees, the bullocks can come back. And I tell you, you do the calculation. If you actually put the subsidies, make the equal subsidies that are going into mechanization into this system, then you are ticking many boxes. You are not, your diesel subsidies are gone. Your the whole environmental issues that carbon issues are addressed, and the sustainability is there. When you talk about natural farming, biggest constraint is labor gone. So on one hand, you are actually, as a society, pushing the labor out of the villages, put all the public investments that create an environment that they are pushed to the cities. That was the fifth that was the development plan of India. Now squeeze move the labor out of the villages to the urban areas and industry. But that never worked. Urban areas and industry grew, but they never absorbing labor. So we have seen this in terms of the COVID crisis. So all these things are there. So what we need to do, I think all of us are in the same basket, wanting to be environmentally friendly and all that. Now we subscribe to some kind of ideas. But the issue that we are dealing with is how you make labor more productive. Like Rashmiji just said, no, their wages from daily wages to shifting to contractual wages increase the wage income from 700 rupees to 1400 rupees. But farmers are not willing to give contractual wages. So the mode of employment should also change. Farmers should see that labor is a free market. They are not bonded to the land, or they're not bonded to the families of the farmers alone. If you see the free market and you bring in technology, the technology that the tools that the farmers use, there are tools that are discovered invented in Mohenjo-daro times. They're using the same tools. Forever, as a society, we never innovated on making the labor easier for the labor for working. And then the moment we invested, we shifted out of the small tools and made it to practice. So if you bring in productive tools, where a labor family can do what they do in for 2 days, they can do in a day using a small implement. That increases and shift your contractual wages. That is a win-win situation. And I mean, do we continue with organizing? Do we continue with this kind of a labor market that is open and still entrenched into the interlocked systems where credit is locked up with the labor availability, some various forms of bondedness and all that, majburi is subject. Do we continue with those systems, or we innovate on the systems of organization? Systems of negotiation between farmers and laborers, like we have wonderfully two cases that are presented. So we are investing on farmer producer organizations. Can we invest in labor service organizations? So why not? Labor also on distance. When the farmers have income as a problem, then you have come up with Kisan Swaraj. But the more problematic is the agricultural labor, more poorer are the agricultural labor. So can we think of an innovative ways of organizing agricultural labor, ways of economic negotiation, economic structuring within this thing, and then government coming up with good technical innovations and investments on matters that improve labor productivity. Be it a small, technology is very simple. With coming of solar and then batteries and all that is flexible. Downscaling of technology is possible. So many innovations are there in YouTube, but not even a single innovation finds place in government scheme of mechanization. There is a draft animal power project, All India Coordinated Research Project in ICR, that went for 15 years. It's recently closed. And the technologies that developed, not even a single paisa was invested by the government to popularize the technologies. It's all shell. So we need to see labor problem not as a tie between farmers and labor, no, having conflicts around Narega, we should come out of that and see this labor as what earlier, there is human energy abundantly available, and there are lives behind it who have aspirations, and then they are the economic players. And can we think of them in terms of public policy, public investment, the rate fixation, negotiation, implementation, and all that? I think that kind of a framework, as a collective, we all should experiment and evolve. So, two examples that are very bright examples that are there before us. So, some kind of taking that labor bank idea forward. Can we sort of innovate on labor service organizations, organizing labor, giving them dignity, giving them good technology, sophisticated tools, machines in their hands where they can operate. So all the capital subsidy, why not the government put that before and make those capital subsidy available for all customizing centers where these machines are available in a panchayat, at a panchayat, or whatever level, where people can, if I'm going to a work, I can take a machine and then no work, my productivity doubles. So can we create such systems from grassroots innovations to the policy-based public investments? I think this is what I would like to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ravindra, for sharing a lot of good perspectives on this issue. Now I invite Ramesh from AF Ecology Center to talk about what they have been trying in their
Good evening to all. Myself, I'm Ramesh Rao. I work in an organization called Action Fraternal Ecology. We work in Anantapur district in 8 mandals. So in Anantapur district, most of the farmers are laborers also. So they are partly farmers. Are farmers and also laborers. So actually, their major income comes from labor only. So the farmer is their secondary activity because of the rainfall and all that. So this is we work on holistic development of the farmers. We work on sustaining their agriculture and also diversifying the livelihoods in their families, women and also the youngsters. We train them on different trades so that they take up different activities, different jobs. While coming to the agriculture, we also work on reviving the old labor exchange traditions among the farmer communities. Actually, this tradition is not a new one; it's a very old tradition. This has been the practice when there were multiple cropping systems and using cropped animals. The farmers, 2, 3 families used to come together because the sowing window is a small time, maybe less than a week in our district. So to make best use of the sowing window, all these families come together and then they sow their lands together. They share their labor, and this they continue not only in sowing time, and they also do it during weeding and also harvesting times. But this practice has been declined due to many reasons like changing in cropping patterns, migration, introduction of tractors, and also some partly because of schemes like NREGA. So the labor transaction has more become money based. So one of our agenda is to bring mutual cooperation back into these agricultural systems. So one of our strengths that we rely on is that we have organized women farmers, about 16,000 farmers we have organized in 230 villages across 8 mandals. These are all the simple farmers with less than 2 hectares of land. So they are partly farmers and mostly laborers. So what we try to discuss, actually the groups are formed in such a way that the group size will be about 15 to 20 women farmers. The main purpose of the group is doing thrift and credit and also do the sustainable agriculture activities on a collective basis. These groups are again further divided into subgroups. The purpose of subgroups is that so if the subgroups are formed in such a way that the farmers can cooperate, their families are together, their lands are together, and they cooperate in agriculture activities. So from in all the agriculture activities, so there are many benefits of sharing the agriculture activity. Actually, when if they depend on solely on paying for the agriculture labor activity, then the big farmers who can pay more can take the labor away. But if they can go as a labor to other neighbor farmer, then that farmer is obliged to work in this farmer's field. Actually, in the peak seasons, like harvesting and all that, when the labor there is a huge labor shortage. If a person, if a woman or a man has worked as a exchange labor in other farmer fields, then those people are obliged to complete these farmers' activities in time. So it saves not only money but also the timely completion of activities. Also, we extended this sharing not only to labor but also to equipment. So we encourage the groups to purchase equipment. We provide some subsidy like sprayers, like cycle weeders and other small equipment. So then they share those equipment also. So they also benefit from that. So because it's a common equipment, then they save money on that instead of buying the equipment. And also in irrigation. So not in all cases, but wherever possible, we encourage farmers to, because in Anantapur, if in rain-fed lands, if the crop gets one or two irrigations in dry spells, then they get a crop. Otherwise, the entire crop is lost. So the protective irrigation, we promoted protective irrigation among these farmers, and they share the irrigation also. We have provided equipment like pipes, the Honda motors, the drip, the sprinklers, and in some villages water tanks. So that they transport water and provide this protective irrigation and save their crops. So this also cooperation they do among themselves. Some farmers they work as labor. If a farmer gives water, some they also work as labor. So they work out some criteria. So these are the practices. Also, they share seed, they share vegetables because we promote kitchen gardens. We encourage them to share vegetables. So this process is going on, and we have observed that farmers have saved a lot of money. Suppose if a farmer family has worked at least suppose a 50 days as sharing labor, then if in peak because then generally they share labor in the peak times, then it is 300 rupees a day. So 50 into 300 is 15,000 rupees. So they work as exchange labor and they save that money. And they save interest on that money because they have to bring that money on interest. So because of all this sharing process, we observed that they share anywhere about 5 to 10,000 depending on the quantity of sharing. So this has been a good success story in our area. So I'm going to share with you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. So now we've heard about 3-4 different kinds of approaches to addressing the labor issue. I think we have some time for any interaction with people who want to share their own thoughts or ask questions to the speakers. Can I request you all? Thank you. You wanted to ask. Can we have a volunteer who can? Do we have another mic? Another hand mic?
ಸರ್ ಇವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಲೇಬರ್ NREC ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರು. ಕೃಷಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಬೈರೇಗೌಡ ಬಂದಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಬಂಡೆಕನೂರು ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಲೆಟರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಒಬ್ಬರು 5 ಎಕರೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಇರಿಗೇಷನ್, ಒಬ್ಬರು 10 ಎಕರೆ ಡ್ರೈನೇಜ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಆ ಡೈಲಾಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಏನು ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೀವು ಆ ಲೇಬರ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಹಚ್ಚಿ 50% ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಲೇಬರ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರಿಸ್ಟ್ 50% ನೀವು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇವರೇನ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಈ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಡಿಗೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಈಗ ನೀರು ನಿಂತಾಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ನೀರು ನಿಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು ಹೌಸ್ ಕಟ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಅದು ಮಾಡಬೇಡ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು ಮೊದಲು ಕೇಳಿಲ್ಲ JDO ಅವೆಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ರು ಮಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೀದರ್ ತಾಲೂಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಂತ ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ರೆಸಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಾವ್ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ನೀವು ಟೆನ್ಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ NRC ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ರೈತರಿಗೆ 3 ತರ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕನ್ನಡ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಸರ್? ಕನ್ನಡ ಅದು ಹೊಲದ ಕಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಚಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಅಡ್ಡಾಡೋದು ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡನೇದು ಆ ನೀರು ನಿಂತು ಬೆಳೆ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಪೆನ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರ ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ರಿ. ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದ್ ಪೆನ್ ರಿಟೇಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ 10 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಹೋಲ್ಸೇಲ್ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ 7 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ 14 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್? ರೈತರಿಗಂತೂ ಏನು ಸಬ್ಸಿಡಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್ ಯು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ದ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್, ಲೆಟ್ ದೆಮ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡ್. ತಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಏನೇನ್ರಿ?
ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಭೀಮರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ಬೀದರ್ ತಾಲೂಕು ಮಂಡಳಿ ಗ್ರಾಮ.
So Bhim Reddy is asking about NRJ. There is an opportunity for wage workers to work in the agriculture field. Then gives 50% of money wage, and government under MJNRJ, is it possible to give 50% like this? He asked one. And secondly, he is asking that is not connecting, but he is asking some subsidy issue that we will not solve here.
They are giving subsidies, but they are not giving subsidy because, for example, this pen
That I will understand.
He understood, but the topic of this session is not about that.
So he is
Labor in agriculture.
presently Bhim Reddy. Presently, there is no scope for 50-50 in the MJNRJ. The act is totally changed from April onwards. That's called, it is not a Manrega, it comes on G Ram G. We don't know what is the MJNRJ government is totally changed, and G Ram G, what is the policy will come. Still we are not waiting for that new circulars, new policies. We are not aware about this. Existing MJNRJ, there is not possible. Only wage workers can work in the agriculture land in the watershed. That wage comes directly wage workers. So farmers cannot give. I have another question. If labor can, the demand is labor, why not labor work in agriculture field? Why not the same labor work in an industry, suppose substrate that, or a giving company, or any other thing? That actually answers the question. See, so no, I'm not asking. No, I'm not answering.
Sir, you have asked the question. So let us hear what their point of view is. We don't need to all agree, but let us hear each other's point.
We definitely have. My understanding is MJNREGA is a safety net issue. After past, if you don't have work, then there is a government support to give you work and to give the minimum living wage, minimum wage. That is NREGA. If agriculture labor is an issue, if agriculture prices are not sufficient to pay labor decently so that labor works here, then that is an agriculture sectoral issue. In spite of NREGA, if that is a genuine demand, we should ask the government to put that money.
because there is a viability gap funding is a concept that they do in many industries. Agriculture is not viable because the labor wage is low, but it has to be higher because farmer cannot meet that. Then it's a viability gap for agriculture. That money should come from agriculture sectoral investments.
Thank you. No, I think that is clear. So any other questions, any other views that you want to express? Okay.
Hello, sir. Opportunity ಅಂತ ನಾ ಯಾದಗಿರಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯಿಂದ ಬಂದೆ. ಮಾತ್ರ ನರೇಗಾ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆದ್ರೂ ಮೈಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಸರ್
ಮೈಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ನಿಂತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ.
ಒಂದನೇದು, ಎರಡನೇದು ನೀವು ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಬೇರೆನೇ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ನಾವು ಸಾಮೂಹಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕುಡಿಯೋದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಜಾತಿ ತಾರತಮ್ಯಗಳು ತುಂಬಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರ ನೀವು?
We are not focused any religious matters in the organizing the wage workers. Oh, so one asking 100 days giving the employment again there is people will wage workers in migration is there. That is one question is there. And another one he asking the more drunkards and religious problems. That also he asking. Religious in political situation, and there is a always coming in the ground level. In the grassroots, who are the workers working in the grassroots, they always facing these are the challenges. So those who are the community social organization to understand the situation in the villages, understanding the situation of the community, based on community requirement, we are going to work. So we are especially non-governmental organization not going to work on religious and any unnecessary things, because we are focused work. We focus to get proper 100 days. Our is a aim. So that is our focus. We are not focusing drunkards, other social issues. We are focusing government will provide 100 days employment as a ad to get properly from the wage workers. That is our.
Okay, thank you. So I think there's one more question from there, and there are two people who want to ask questions here. Maybe we can take all the questions together. Asha, yeah, first.
Sir, Madam said that the labor cost will increase from 500 to 1,200 or 1,400. The Madam said that, no? At the same time, the farmers, they are not getting that much of income from the agriculture. If the farmers, they are get a good income from the agriculture, then only they will pay the sufficient wages to the labor. Otherwise, the farmers will live from the agriculture. This is my question. How can we manage? Madam? As an agriculturist, how can we manage?
In Kerala, we have the price support system. So the government is procuring paddy for ₹30. So if an average farmer are getting 2,200 kg paddy per acre, so their income is around 60% like that. So for their income is from 1,000 kg per acre is 30,000 rupees. Now, in our case, the cost is high. So the per acre, the total paddy cultivation cost is 35,000 rupees. Out of that, 35% comes to labor cost only. So they already have to give that much cost to our migrant laborers for transplanting activities. So here in our situation, the rate is same, but the Narasena, they hold the rate in hold the rate to 4,500. So that's the thing, that otherwise, if we do not have such sort of intervention, the migrant workers will continuously increasing their wages from every season to season. So the farmers have to pay more. So that is prevented by our intervention of local labor force. So that's the thing. So the paddy, the main thing is that 30 rupees is for per kg paddy is the main attraction for the farmers. So the paddy farmers are still continuing base for the that is the support price for farmers. So that is the encouragement for the farmers to continue paddy crop. Other than that, some subsidies are there. Then local self-help, that is LSGD is providing subsidies, bonus and all. So many interventions are there from the government in order to sustain paddy, because our situation is we have less than 10% area is there. So in our situation, the government is promoting more. That's the case.
Thank you. One second. So let me also just add to what she said. But then let's move the mic, because there are also two more people here. So 1 second. Let me also add. I think your question is, you're talking about labor being paid 1,200 or 1,400 rupees. That is basically what she shared is part of the contract that they are giving for transplanting of 1 acre of paddy. So for transplanting of 1 acre of paddy, they are already paying 4,500 rupees to a labor contractor who brings labor all the way from Bihar. So how much that labor contractor is paying to that laborer from Bihar, we don't know. They may be getting only half of that, right? Now the farmer is paying the same 4,500 rupees to the local laborers who have gotten organized. So through this mechanism, the wages of the laborers also have increased. That is what she's saying. So if the farmer cannot afford 4,500 rupees for transplanting in the first place, that's a different problem. But they were already doing that with the migrant laborers. Now they are doing it with the local laborers, and the local labor wages have increased. That is the situation that she has shared. So let us please move on.
So as an agriculturist, my urge is, when the paddy price, the last year in Karnataka, the paddy price was 3,600 rupees. In the next 6 months back, the paddy price was 2,000 rupees. Means the difference between 1,600 rupees per quintal in the just 6 months. As an agriculturist, what I urge the government and labor union, when the paddy prices comes down, at the same time the labor cost will come down. Then only the farmers will sustain. Otherwise, the farmers will can't sustain.
No, we understood your point. We can have the question, but I just wanted to add one thing. I think that we all should also think about is that, see, basically agriculture as a sector is not, that economy itself has become not very functional, meaning the costs of cultivation are higher, and then the prices that they are getting from the market or from the government are too low. So now when that pie is small, the fight between the agriculture workers and farmer about who gets which share of the pie is one way of doing it, because both the farmers and the agriculture workers are in the same village, so you are actually fighting with each other. But actually the forces which are larger, like the free trade agreements, like the government fixing MSP, like the cost of the pesticides and fertilizers and all that, we are not bargaining about that. So therefore, we can think of farmers and agriculture workers as a common community that is working in agriculture, trying to get livelihood. So if they're not getting sufficient livelihood, they should actually fight a battle together to increase the agriculture economy. That's the way I think we should look at it.
Yeah. I just want to raise the same question that Devinder raised about the social effect around labor, which unfortunately was brushed aside rather abruptly by the gentleman there, because it is a very important issue in labor problems in agriculture. Certainly where I work and where I live. And it really needs to be addressed. This factors of caste, of problems in health regarding drinking and so on, alcohol problem. I think it is perhaps here we're just talking numbers, but there are lots of wider issues which must be brought into the conversation. Number one. Number two, I was very interested to hear the idea of upgrading tools in agriculture. I'd really like to know what innovations you're talking about, because you said that a lot of the tools, backward tools, do we have that kind of skill among our, I don't like even the term labor, from our labor force, from our workforce, the workers, our co-workers, the kind of input that we would require to increase the use of, even if you have the innovations, who's going to pay for this building of that skill? Where's it going to come from?
Thank you, ma'am.
Just these two factors, please, I'd like some answers on that.
Thank you. Your questions are well taken. But my request is that let's take two more questions and then let's answer them together. Harsha. No, you have to follow me, no? Because they raised the.
He came to me and asked before.
No, that's fine.
ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ನಾನು ಬಿಜಾಪುರದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ, ಸಾಹೇಬ್ ಸವಿನಾಳ್ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾಷಣಕಾರರು ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದರು. ಅವರವರ ಒಂದು ಇದರೊಳಗೆ ಏನು ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿದಾರ, ಅವರು ಹೆಂಗ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ರೈತರು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಆಯ್ತು, ಮೇಡಮ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರದು ರೈತರದು ಇರೋದು ಈಗಿಂದಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು 30 ವರ್ಷ ನಾನು ಅವಾಗ ಒಕ್ಕಲ್ತನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅವಾಗ ಹಿಡಿದು ಇದ್ದದ್ದೇ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಯಾಕಾಗ್ಲಾಗತ್ತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಗಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ತಯಾರಿಲ್ಲ, ರೈತರು ತಯಾರಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರು ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಈಗ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ನಾ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಆ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಊರಿಂದ ಒಂದು 50 ಹುಡುಗರು ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಮಕ್ಕಳೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರ ತಂದೆಯವರದ್ದು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಹಿಂಗಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು. ಎರಡನೇದ್ದು, ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ, ದಾಳಿಂಬೆ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಹಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ ಬೆಳಿತೀವಿ, ನಿಂಬೆ. ಅದರೊಳಗೆ ಈಗ ದ್ರಾಕ್ಷಿ 1 ಟನ್ಗೆ 400 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಕೆಜಿ ಇದೆ, 400 ಕೆಜಿ. ಅದು 1 ಎಕರೆಗೆ 10 ಲಕ್ಷ ತನ ಗಳಿಸ್ಬೋದು ರೈತ. ಅವನು ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನಕ್ಕೆ 1,000 ರೂಪಾಯಿ ಪೇಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಲೇಬರ್ಗೆ. ಅದೇ ಜೋಳ, ಮೆಕ್ಕೆಜೋಳ, ಕಡ್ಲಿ, ತೊಗರಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುವಂತ ರೈತರು ಮಾಡಕ್ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ಒಂದು ವೇತನ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗ್ಯದ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಪಗಾರ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ PWD ಅವರು ವರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ನಡೆದಿರ್ತದ ಅವರು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಿಟಿ ಒಳಗ ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಡುವಂತ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಪುರಾಟ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ರೈತರದು ಕೃಷಿ ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗತ್ತ. ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅವರು ಒಂದರ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ರೈತರು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದಟ್ರು ತಮ್ಮ ಹೊಲದಾಗ ತಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೆಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ತಿನ್ನೋದು ಚಲೋ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತದ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Okay. Yes, I will be brief. I know you are running. My name is Shailendra. I come from management. Having this getting their thoughts on the right, of course, yeah, farming definitely is there are issues force, and workforce also has the problem of landlessness, right? That adds to the problem. And then there is, of course, this historical puzzle. And of course, and then labor is now moving in wide variety, mixing of all kinds. At least the labor study that I do in Gujarat, right? Combine themselves as farmers, agricultural laborers, construction workers, seasonally. They go and migrate, come back, all kinds of mixing, right? So it's not an easy thing. But these kinds of interventions, so the two which I would like to mention based on my own understanding. And of course, the Mira experience has been mentioned, but Kudumbashri has done a good work in helping agricultural laborers get land on lease, collective farming, giving access to land to the laborers, right? The landlessness is a major problem. That has been one good experiment, and studies have shown very, very positive impact of this group farming by landless Kudumbashri collective. So that kind of thing, that giving access to farm these laborers, whether it may be wetland or even common land, can help reduce their vulnerability. And of course, the issue of Narasimha, many are being mentioned, and you know what has happened, right? This is a 125 days is just a ruse. Just to fool the people that we're going to give more job, they're going to even take away even whatever that 50 days of average days of labor. And that is going to squeeze this labor further, complicate the issues, right? And just as before MG Narega, the various civil society and others came together to ask for MG Narega Act. And now, given that what is the experience, it has given some cushion, no doubt. It is also helping farmers. There is a need for the civil society movement to demand for MG Narega. Can you please conclude? Just just closing. That's all. Yeah, need to demand for that. Otherwise, the situation of labor force will be even more complicated. Will get even more worse. So therefore, there is a need of onus on this movement or similar movements and similar organizations to demand that MG Narega is bad. Whatever the name, they are all trying to fool, and they are going to further squeeze the labor and their situation. That's my suggestion. Thank you very much for this this panel and this topic.
Thank you, thank you. So I request the speakers to take all the questions together. One on, I think the lady asking about alcoholism and so on. I didn't get the full question, but I understand that basically ages or it is an ages maybe leading to alcoholism. Roughly what I understood. No, caste, but what is the caste issue? I didn't understand. So, huh? Okay, so certain religious incidents happen, but is that related to NREGS or I didn't understand? Okay, so I think that question was not clear, but at least the ones which are clear, let them answer. And I think to Ravindra, what kind of innovations, in terms of improving the productivity of labor. And the Kannada question, I would request Shamsuddin ji to translate and answer that. And the question on Kudumbashri experiment of land on lease for collective farming by women. And how do we actually counter this whole change in MGNRGA being replaced by this G Ramji, which will actually make the situation of the agricultural laborers worse. So these are things that we would like you to
cover. So, to reference this thing, we have succeeded in ISRO sending rockets somewhere. But all the years, women, when they do weeding, they have to sit with a sickle, crawl on the land, and then do weeding. Each acre requires 16 kilometers of sitting and then moving. So this is atrocious. On one side, we are proud of the technologies, missiles, and all that. On the other side, we are indifferent to the kind of work that people are doing. So if all the technologies are mandated, IDs are mandated, that no wage worker will sit and then do work. You innovate your technologies. I'm sure if you have a challenge fund, in 2 months, there'll be enough technologies that will actually help women to do more work in a less time with less energy. So, a lot of leaders, so many technologies are available now. If a woman, instead of a women group doing with sickles and all that, if they have the battery operated weeders, they can complete no time. And then if you have even bullocks, if the same weeding is done by bullocks, one pair of bullock can actually do 3 acres in a day. And then a small labor group, given that pay, that contractual assignment of this thing, can actually bring in. You can think of so many things. We have bright technical people. Only thing is the focus as a society we do. We're indifferent to this kind of technological innovation because it's not into feudal mindset of ours.
Do you want to address any other question? The one on G or alcoholism?
On the land lease thing, see, whenever what pains me always, when we talk about agriculture labor issues, we bring in so many other issues and club them and then make it, no, you cannot address it. So, landlessness is an issue. That has to be dealt with. What happened to land reforms? What happened to all those things that we have been talking for ages? Why we are clubbing landlessness with agriculture labor? I'm not saying agriculture labor should not get land, but you are actually, this agenda gets sidelined once you bring in other issues, Narega and agriculture labor. So you separate all these things, don't clutter it. Clear focus on what is the issue that agriculture labor to be viable for the farmer and for the aspirations of the wage labor. What is the solution that we need to find? If you focus on that, then solutions will come. There is a technology solution, there is an investment solution, there is a relationship solution between farmer and then the labor that all. But there are lots of things that we can solve. If you clutter it, none of it can be solved. That's my take on but that's an important issue. But that issue should be dealt with in the land reform cell.
Any other?
Question.
Our Bijapur farmer friend is expressed these views about the farming community. Youths are going to migrations to cities to work in Bangalore somewhere. So nowadays, farmer and laborers not very much come to work in the agriculture. That is the biggest challenge is here. And secondly, horticulture crops in Bijapur area. So there is a more horticulture crops are there. There is good income come, which will be more, that is fine. If in the agriculture land, that is pulses, other jawar, in that there is no prices, then he can pay more wages to laborers. It's a very difficult, like this he told. So that is the thing is, youths, the government policies some to create skill building training. So more employment generation. So that kind of another programs are going. So automatically village youths are going to migrate, pick up skill building training, automatically they go. Parents are encouraged to go and work somewhere and automatically reduce the agriculture land. The farmer is not willing to work more agriculture. So automatically that happens in the farming communities. That will be ongoing process. Automatically, where youths are going to migration, they come again, return to the villages. Then they think it, why I am not work in the agriculture. That they only think on personal. The family would think sitting and think about this agriculture. Nowadays, in the land, there is cost is more. Agriculture, it's come. Don't go agriculture land to corporates.
That kind of to think farmers. Now 1 acre land goes to 30 lakhs. Earlier, just 1 or 2 lakhs agriculture land is there. So farmer can think on seriously to convince the farmer to work in the hard in the agriculture land. That will be get good benefit. In the Kerala model, government is giving more MSP price. In Karnataka, there is less price. In example, paddy is going to 1600 rupees, 2000 rupees. In that, he gives to wage workers wages, and farmer cannot get more income. Automatically, he suffer farming activities. He does their mindset also is. And also he taken loans from the banks. They think about the suicides. Cases are more in the agriculture field. So that is what farmers can work in today. What is going to organic farming, self-sustainable model farming, that kind of horticulture practices will be save our farmers. Otherwise, it is very difficult. In one of our sir said MJNRJ issue, so that is with a big against the G Ramji's campaign are going, but I don't know how Government of India are taking decisions. So April onwards, G Ramji is coming 125 days. It's also going to implement. So new rule, we don't know how it will be helpful to the farmers and wage workers. So we are waiting for their government circulars. So maybe it's suffer for agriculture also because of there is a decision making by the Government of India. The decision making by the bureaucrats. So earlier in Manrega, there is a decision taken by the Gram Sabha. So this is happening, is going under discussion with so many civil society groups. So we waiting for the government. What is G Ramji's new circulars are coming. So we are going to against about the G Ramji.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else that you would like to add to any of the questions? Okay. Thank you so much. I know that there are 2-3 other people who had questions, but we have run out of time. But I hope that you like the interaction and it has been a good discussion and also very good points made by all the speakers and the people from the audience. So just want to make 3 or 4 concluding comments. One is on the VP Ramji, just on behalf of ASHA. We've also made a concept note on this whole issue of labor in agriculture and what could be the kind of demands that we make from the government or what could be the kind of solutions that we should pursue. These are all there on the website. We also made a few printed copies in different languages. They've also been translated to different languages. We urge you to look at those discussion notes if you're interested. I think they are also being distributed in the parallel sessions. There is a QR code in the registration kit, which you can scan to actually get access to this discussion notes. We would like you to engage much deeper also with these issues. On BPG Ramji, like Shakruddin ji was saying, I think that most of the civil society groups which have worked on agriculture workers' rights and so on think that this is a very move by the government in the wrong direction. So there is a lot of resistance that this GRAMG Act should not be implemented. It should be rolled back and the NREGA Act should be revived. Bringing improvements in NREGA's implementation is one thing. But taking away the right of the workers to actually get work at the local level with the panchayat employment is a different thing. So there are improvements certainly that can be made in NREGA's implementation. We can discuss those, but kind of wholesale repealing the act and bringing Ramji is something that many of us think is actually not the right thing to do. So we all need to actually resist and raise our voice against that. Just in terms of I think what we have heard in this session, certainly, I think when we look at the problem with that farmers are having about what they call a shortage of agricultural labor, I would look at it as we need to delineate 2 or 3 things. One is the wage issue, that the wages are going up. The other is reliability and quality of availability of labor. So on the wage issue, I think that, we all need to be very clear from a social justice point of view, from the fact that the workers are the ones who are actually doing the work of producing in the fields. Them getting remunerative wages is something that farmers should always be in favor of. We heard from Subhash Sharma ji in the morning how they look at how he and his team looks at workers as part of the family, as brothers and sisters. That's how he always refers to them. And they're getting good wages, and women getting more wages than men. And also they're getting a 25% bonus when the farm actually gets better income. So these are the kind of, I think the attitudinal shift between landowning farmers and agriculture workers should definitely happen. So on the wages thing, I think that, remunerative and fair wages should be something that all of us should be accepting as a given. But on the quality and reliability of labor also, there are issues. That is where I think that the kind of collectives and that we've heard about, either in Kerala or in Karnataka or Andhra Pradesh also, labor exchange and so on. These are some of the ways in which and contract based, engaging of labor rather than daily wage way of engaging. These are all different approaches which could be used to address that issue. And in general, I think that, our whole framework of ecological agriculture, which wants to move away from monocropping to multiple cropping, diverse cropping, and so on, would actually bring back more human labor into the agriculture system. So therefore, this is a question on which I think we need to engage in a way that agriculture workers also feel part of the solution and not just be seen as a problem that somehow needs to be tackled by replacing labor with something else. So with this, I would like to, session. But thank you all for participating very actively, and hope these discussions will lead to more engagement with these things in the the speakers for making time and sharing their response.
Just to add that in ASHA, we are also saying fair wages workers as well as remunerative prices to as a legal entitlement. Can we have the chairs removed, please? Usha, come in.
So the next session will be a mime by a group of artists from Kerala, Srija Arangotagara and their team. They are a very well-known theatre group in Kerala, have received a lot of awards, state and national awards, and then they are not just doing theatre, they are also doing agriculture, organic farming, seed conservation, paddy, vegetables, cow, everything is there. It's like a happening place when you go, and it's every day there's something or the other happening, and that is part of their theatre also. So I think it will be very, very interesting. But for the sake of different languages, we asked them to do a mime, because otherwise, if they speak in Malayalam, you won't be able to understand. Other languages, people will not be able to understand. So they have come prepared with a mime. I think you will all enjoy this, and I request everybody to come forward. From backbenchers, please come forward and sit, so that will give a lot of enthusiasm to the artist also. So Srija, in the last 20 years, they are actually doing, every year they are doing a harvest festival. January, second Saturday, Sunday. It is a village kind of festival where thousands of people from various places come. You don't know who are all coming. So and there will be workshops on theatre, painting, and many other, dance, music during daytime. In the evening, it will be all play of different subjects, not just agriculture, social issues, political issues, and there will be book releases. And it's a very many people are in Kerala looking forward to that. And also they cultivate around 20 acres of paddy together. It's a collective farming they are doing. And it's very, very energizing to be with them. And I request all of you, if you get a chance next year, you please join for the Harvest Festival also in January. Yeah. So I invite I think they are getting ready. Please wait. Be patient because they just came from Kerala. And invite all your friends also sitting outside, maybe in the outside just sitting on the veranda or maybe in the exhibition halls. You please call individually, not your friends and people who came from your state. Thank you.
Ushaji already told about our programs, and we have theatre group Kala Padashala and agriculture group Krishi Padashala. And now we perform a play, my play, no language. And this is our first performances. So, if any want, okay, listen. Kala Padashala presents.
See, you are indeed, indeed, we are indeed, I see indeed, underground breathing, always beating, I hear guarantee, that prophecy, GMC, indeed, Los Santos, you are indeed, and gentle, we are indeed, I receive indeed, magic, indeed. Let's see them be fire, breathing, back out, got the reason, you see no way, see, you are indeed, don't get to see, we are indeed, I receive indeed, by a process, GMC indeed, you may say no way, you may say no way, nope. See, that house, GMC, indeed, see, you are great, indeed, you got to see, we are indeed, no problem, I receive, indeed, that prophecy, GMC, indeed, got what you need. Don't have to see, you need to see, no way, you got what you need. No dirt to see, see, you need to see, no way,
No, Ritesh. No.
What? And a 34 just started. Oh, probably when he did right. And probably when he did right. Hamo. For the next 14, he'd ride a sword and a pick and a revolver by his side. Camel kill Rob you yellow. Futurology. That's a hard part on in there, and then it makes you. Camel kill a lot. Great.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. It's our first production, and so many mistakes are happened in music. It's a technical errors, and we are very happy to be here. Thank you so much. And I am Srija. Nivya.
Anish.
Narayan.
That is very, not nothing wrong in it. Beautiful. And I must say that the young team of the second generation of Arangotigara Kalabadashala is here. And they are also doing agriculture and they are bringing enterprises around it. And slowly, I think in 2 years' time, we will see a big thing happening, like village level. Okay, earlier, Sumanas was talking about village level development. Actually, that is what is happening there. And they are all from that village. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we go for dinner now. Thank you, Srija and